Morning, morning. What a day yesterday. Hope you guys made some money. Made some money. Well, I got 8:30. So today is it'll be interesting, right? Because it is Thursday. We had our big moves, and so now we get to the point where it's like, what's next, right? Make sure TikTok, we're good here. All right. So let's take a look at the news. Let's see where we're at here. So we had our Wednesday. You guys can see, we went through that news. The Fed just basically raised it, what they thought they were going to raise it. Nothing shocking, right? Oil inventories, bad but better than thought. So green. Today, we got a lot of, news across the other side of the world there. The one that typically moves of these that I see is going to be this one, the the initial jobless claims. So you can see here, 8:30 it already came out right here. So, that one's starting out red there. So, a few other things today. This one right here is not going to move it too much because it's no different than what we just seen. So, I don't think there's going to be a lot of like crazy news impact today. If anything, it's just going to be market makers kind of making their place or FOMO. And then tomorrow, we do have quite a bit of news again. I would say maybe unemployment rate is going to be a big one here. Nothing. I mean, there's really just not a lot left that's going to rock the market, right? Like the FOMC did. The FOMC is one of the top ones. So now that we know where that's going, let's take a look at the SPX. So on the 1 hour, kind of we put this daily chart out. You guys who have been joining these, right? You guys know. Oh, by the way, I'm using my minion background today. Apparently, I traded with this all day yesterday. These are my lucky minions. We'll keep it. So on the 1 hour, we have called that we had this head and shoulder, right? We all in the community rode this wave down. And then those who were following me yesterday, it's kind of funny. We were live all day. Even though we had the Fed meeting and all that stuff, right? There was still a rising kind of situation you had going on here, right? And typically those struggle to hold. So not only did it struggle to hold, it struggled to hold these EMAs, creating that death cross, right? And then down we go. Now keep in mind, y'all know me. I've been put for like ever, right? Because of where we were in these ranges. Now we're back into a support range. We have a clear double bottom possibly forming. I would be really careful on your puts, right? Because you look here, you have this low that exploded, right? You have a higher low here, right? Although we are expanding a little bit on the Bollinger Bands and we are still red, we got a little bit of bullish divergence that's popping up here. I don't know if I would consider this as completed. This one right here is not quite as clear on the divergence, right? But just be careful because it, just like Bitcoin did, right? And ETH, if we hold this double bottom here and it can come up and break this neckline, you're gonna see an explosion north, right? And it's gonna be basically a reclaim of this candle here. But here's my but. Don't fall for it by holding it. If you're the type that likes to hold your trades for a little while, be sure to move that stop, right? So that way you don't lose your profit, because here's a scenario that could play. People are going to anticipate this candle will be claimed, right? Like it did here, this candle will be claimed, and then here, right? So there might be that anticipation move, and so this would be the rejection point, right? Somewhere in here. So if you do get this candle reclaim and your call here, you're going to want to flip to put here. Now, the sticky part, this is why I say be careful. Trend lines are meant to be broken. Typically, falls come in three. You have one, two, so there's likely another one that will come. But if this double bottom does break north with enough strength, right, and it can flip this trend line, then it's going to come all the way up here to retest this prior high. So just be careful, right? If you flip to that put, you want to use those stop losses in there, or just wait for actual confirmation. You can see here, we're still super oversold, so just be really careful, guys. Like you guys know, I'm one that plays the zone, and when you zoom out, we still have a massive gap to fill. This is not filled yet, guys. And look at this area right here, like the 4073 has been holding as our support for some time. Here's the flip side, right? This could break and we could continue this gap fill to create a lower high here. So it's a little more, you're going to see me as a trader be a little more patient with my entries because we have a nice support here. So yes, we could come back up. So we want to be careful on our puts because to fight that put all the way up here is going to suck. On the flip side, we still have more room to fall than we do to pump. So if you do take that call here and it doesn't play out, you got a lot of room to fall. So just be careful on that, right? Because we're at a critical support level. So if this breaks, this fall is going to be pretty significant. I would suspect, around 4,000 range, somewhere in here is where you would get a bounce like that. Now, if this does come down here and it bounces on what was previous resistance, this is considered gap filled for me. We're not quite gap filled for me yet because we have not really reclaimed the middle, right? Which would be somewhere in here. So just choose your entries wisely, guys. Be patient today. Thursdays, you got two, Thursday and Friday. I don't like to hold contracts through the weekend because you're just burning time. So just be very selective on your contracts. But I am looking potential call and I am looking potential short. I'm not just taking puts like I was up here. Up here, y'all know who followed me. I was like, I ain't taking no calls, right? And that played out well. I had a guy yesterday on my live. It was like, oh, we're going north. That's a buy, dude. It's a buy. Take a call. And I'm like, I was kind of joking with my TikTok. I said, my put came out in profit. Like, how's your call doing, bro? So I don't, which I joke about it. But, the thing about the trading community is, although it's very you against me, that's just how it is, right? Because every buyer needs a seller. Every seller needs a buyer. I still don't like to see people get wrecked like that. So, and they may be okay, right? I mean, if they're smart, they let this roll down. They took their contracts, right, and then they'll make it back up on the way back out. But again, now you got to fight it, right? So I don't like to fight against that grain. So, all right, SPY's pretty much the same. And then we have the Dixie over here. I put this out in the morning. Looks like the Dixie's getting a nice little burst up right here, double bottom. So that seems to be what is driving us down a little bit right now as far as even kind of crypto. So just keep an eye on that because if the Dixie continues to break and reclaim this level, I mean, it fell pretty far right here, right? I mean, we had a pretty nasty drop. But what's interesting is we had this nasty drop and the SPY still fell, right? Leads me to believe that if this Dixie can break through this trend line here, right? It broke it here, it retested it, but it could not hold this, and it just collapsed with the news. So these are the kind of those pivotal lines. If we break this teal line, right, and create a lower low here, then the markets are going to pump from that. But if we can continue to hold pressure here, and notice it created a higher low here, right, with a nice little double bottom forming, and you see the Dixie start to blow up here. I would suspect that if you're scalping, I use the Dixie a lot to determine where I'm going to close. So like if I'm going to put and it's riding down, right, and I see the Dixie just doing this, doing this, doing this, I'm thinking about closing my put somewhere around here, right? Because this is going to, you know, likely reject here and it's going to pull back down, which is going to hurt my put. So, let me go ahead and delete this out. So that's kind of where we're at with the Dixie. I mean, the Dixie's not really done anything exciting. If anything, guys, you know, if you really zoom out, where's the gap on the Dixie, right? Up. And what do we have forming down here? It's starting to round, right? So you have your low, your lower low, your low. We have our first higher low. If this pumps up and creates a higher high, it's likely to come down and create another low, but it'll be a higher low. That will confirm that this is rounding. If this rounds, it's going back to 105, just guaranteed. Which, what do you think that's going to do to the markets? So that's why we follow the Dixie, because the Dixie controls everything else. Everything else does not control the Dixie. So total market cap, I haven't talked about market cap in some time because honestly, guys, it was fairly boring and it was pretty apparent on the rest of crypto. But keep an eye on this area here. Part of what I put out in the guidance is we did flip this right yesterday. And you know, you kind of, I mean, there's a few things you could call here, right? You got kind of like your cup and handle, you got, you know, kind of like your inverse head and shoulder, you know, a lot of things that just showed bullish. We are over bought a little bit, but we have not flipped red. So that's why I marked this here. So keep an eye on that. We also got a little bit of divergence showing up, right? Which it tends to show you're going to have a little bit of a pullback. So, and keep in mind, we also, although it's not a clean double top, we did double peak it there. And if you were to draw a trend line from peak to peak, right, we couldn't even get up to here. So if it breaks, it doesn't mean we're done, right? We could still go up more, but you know, there's not a lot of room for it would seriously butt its head. But as long as we stay above these EMAs here on the 1 hour and we stay above this support line on the 1 hour, you know, we're not done yet. For me to be bearish, I would want to see a breakdown here below these EMAs and then some low volume bounces on the 200, and then that's going to tell me it's going to break down. So you know, and this could be the beginning, guys, of a larger pattern too, right? So sometimes I like to anticipate patterns, right? So you might have something like this, right? And then it would retest and then fail. So this might be something that is forming. And I mean, it could take some time, right? So you look at just to get to this shoulder here would be tomorrow, and then that would be the weekend, and then the weekend bleed, right? So very, very possible. Now, what would invalidate this here is if we never break this. If you can't create this second part of the head, then it's invalidated. It's way too early to know for certain that that's going to play out, or with high certainty. But what we teach in our room is, you know, don't be afraid to take risks on reading a pattern, because when you begin to read it and you actually see that it plays out the way that you thought it would, it's really cool. So that's when you're starting to take your trading to the next level. I did mark this here too. Should be more there. We do have green flip on the. Oh, it moved down here, guys. I hate when I do that. Okay. Now I moved the wrong one. We might carry on this. Let me get this organized here. That's what happens when you accidentally drag your indicator. I might just move on here and let's just delete let's delete it. There we go. We'll add it back. But yeah, so you know, we do have the Bollinger Band kind of flipping green on our stuff here, right? Which is typically bearish. So I'd like to kind of see that, or I'm sorry, bullish. I'd like to see that flip red if you're more of a bear. So as far as Bitcoin goes, you know, you can see on these charts here, this is something we're working on, guys. If you're wondering what this is, it's going to be pretty sick. What we're designing with this new indicator is we want to create something that helps y'all identify gaps. We're not done with it. We do have some pivots we have to make through this as we continue it. But it's gonna be pretty sick, guys. And you can see, just based on what you see here on the 1 hour, we did have our fall. We reclaimed this area, and then we had a pump here. So we do have a area here that has to be reclaimed, right? So it's likely going to reclaim this area. And if you take a trend line from here to here, right, that would reclaim the area and then cause a bounce, right? So we could fall as low as about 28.5 before we get that bounce up north again, right? And if that level breaks, then it's gonna be pretty drastic down. So we have a little area up here we didn't reclaim, but this one we did. We just missed this one here, but it's not enough to really hold it up. So just be careful on your longs up here. But as far as Bitcoin goes on this chart, this is a long-term trend line I've been following, and you can see it literally is still pretty viable because it stopped in its tracks. You can see here, right, and then it's breaking down right now. Now, we talked about, I marked this here. If you're in the community and you're using our indicators, you would have been able to catch this pump because we had a clear 1-2 from our indicators, as well as the crab off of support and the Bollinger's flip green. I mean, there's so much here that shows you that we're going north. So, but we are currently rejecting off of this area. For us to stay bullish, I would need to see a break above here and hold this as support to retest this line. Now, keep in mind, guys, if you take, it's not much, but if you take a line here and you pull it down like that, anything up in here, 29.8, 29.9, I would short the crap out of this because it's going to reject. I mean, it's already done it 1-2 times, right? Its likelihood of it doing a third time is pretty high. So now you can see so far we have a low and we have a higher low. We could still have a healthy pullback, right, somewhere in this range and still create this higher low. And you can kind of monitor that by just taking a trend line like that. So if you're playing today and you want to play short because we're up in this range, you can take your shorts. I would be just careful of the bounces through these EMAs. But you definitely have room that you can come down, and you're doing it with the plan, keeping your volume small enough that if you pump up here, you can DCA off of this probably guaranteed rejection. So only thing I see pushing that above is going to be news. So and the news yesterday was not, in my opinion, bullish enough to do this. So this was a lot of pattern indicators, FOMO, things like that. Keep in mind, guys, Bitcoin and ETH shot up like crazy, and the stocks absolutely just took a poop, right? So it just doesn't, none of it lines up right now. The one thing I do know is when they don't line up and they decouple like this, eventually it bounces. Yeah, look, you can see the fall taking place right now. So, and I believe actually what's cool is, let me take a look, but I think we called the short actually on this one. Let's see. Yep, look at that. Called the short. Beautiful. I'm telling you guys, these indicators are awesome. You guys in the room, you know this. Let's check ETH. I think ETH called the short too. And for those in the room, this Harmonic Pro one that does these, I'm going to actually work on listing this later today. So you will be able to request that. But look at this. Boom. TP2. Just killed it. So, I mean, everything in here, you have your back grab here, but you have a double top, you have a short call, another double top, or red on the band, red here. I mean, it's just everything says it's going to pull back. So, we only got about 10 minutes left. I spent more time on the TA because of the news. I suspect, here's my thing, guys. I suspect we might pull back a little bit today. We're either going to pump up today and dump tomorrow, or dump today and pump up tomorrow. But they're going to want to balance those contracts up and down, right? And then going into the weekend, depending how that volume is, will probably just be flat. So I'm not going to add any more to my list here today. But tomorrow I'll make that decision on what I want to run through the weekend based on what I see today. So let's take a look at our to-do list. For those just joining, this is our automated trading portion. These trades are all 100% automated. So we were running Aave short. Let's see if it Looks like it's stuck, so Aave got a little bit of a push, which is fine. Yep, there we go. So we are stuck. So let's see. Let's analyze a DCA point. So I'm okay with DCAing somewhere here because I do have a pre line here. So let's go ahead and add this one. It's probably pretty high. Let's try 10%. So what I'm looking for is the white line. Where it places that. Oh, right there. So a little high. All right, so we want to try to get this little off-white line right below this yellow one. So I'm just adjusting this percent. So obviously we want to bring it down, so I'm going to bring the percent down, and you'll see this move. There we go. I'm probably good with that, but let's go one more. Let's see how that does. A little too close. We'll say 7.5. So if you're following along with me, I would say 7.5. There we go. You don't want to do it on the line because you want to give it room, right, to make that decision. So just above it's probably fine. So I'm good with that DCA point. Otherwise, I'll just write it out. So, and remember, this is only my second DCA, so which is fine. So we good. All we gotta do once we make the modification is delete the alert. We're gonna add the alert. Aave short. Because keep in mind, any change that I make on the indicator, I have to add the alert back so the alert can fire to the server and know that, hey, you need to DCA there, which is why we do that. So it did really well, guys, through the news. You can see, you know, we played pretty well all the way through here, right? And then, you know, with the crazy pumping, it got caught. But in all fairness, right, I only have one DCA, and I did that intentionally, right? Because otherwise it may have DCA'd here, and then it would be up in a higher range. So that's why, you know, if you're doing the safer play, I always just leave it as 1, and then I will add 2. The default settings allows you to, margin-wise, to add up to 3. So I'm okay with that. So, yep, so there we go. Aave is done. What do we got? ETH long. So we did add LTC long, so we would have caught that push north. So that's good, a good add. So let's take a look at LTC. Because y'all remember I added that right before news just to kind of help that balance. So LTC is not as in bad of a shape, right? We DCA'd 1. We're almost actually out on the short. So I'm not going to touch LTC. It's doing well, 14 days, $280. You know, not a terrible DCA for DCA 1. Longs did well. Look at this. Man, this one caught it. Look at that, TP5. In one day, made $35 through the news. This is how it handled the news. So killed it. I'm still going to let the long run, but I will still keep it as 1 DCA. So, but yeah, it was a great call to play that. So I'm not going to touch it. For those who wanted to follow along, I'm just doing LTC, parabolic SAR. These are all default 1 DCA. That's it. And then no stop loss because I'm running both directions. I don't worry about stop loss if I'm running both directions. And I'm only doing 1 DCA. And then this is where I've closed my candle at. So, so let's save that and let's take a look at ETH. Let's see. So, man, the long didn't quite make it out. You know, it sucks too because we added that extra DCA, but it was like right here and it never quite made it. So that was my call, right? If I pulled it up just a little bit, if I wasn't as worried about that fall, it would have had a better opportunity to get out and we'd already be out. But super close to the entry, you know, like $30 away, not too worried. Let's see how the short is. So we're actually pinned right now, so you can see. Let's just do them both. So these are my take profits for my short. These are take profits for my long. Now, let's do what we want to do on that. We're gonna want to modify second DCA for the short. So let's put this about 6%. And let's see where that puts it. Okay, so it puts it right where it's at right now. I don't know that I want to go there because I want to bring it up a little more than that. So let's put it, let's try 7%. I want to get it somewhere up in this range, 1940 or so. Let's do the 7.5, like the other one, and I'm good with that. The reason why I'm doing that is because either A, we're going to come down and I'm going to get out, I don't care. B, we're going to pump and I'm going to get out of my longs, I don't care. But if we do pump, right, my long DCA is pretty far away. It's like down here. My short DCA, I don't want to do too tight. I want it far away because if we pump and I get out of the long, I want this to be able to move that short entry up. If we fall and I get out of the short, then I want this to be able to move that long entry down. So it's a longer play. It may get stuck for a little bit, but that's okay. It's a safer play. So that was ETH short. So let's kill the ETH short alert, and we're just going to recreate ETH short. Create, and there it is. So now if it crosses this line, it will dollar cost average me, which will move my entry up. So I got my play, so I'm good with ETH. I think that's all I was running. Let's take a look at Sol, guys, because remember, we bowed out of the shorts. Sol was killing it, and we took our profit and ran on the shorts, which is a good play because look, you can see yesterday we had a really big pump up. I'm gonna activate the short again, guys. So if you want to activate it again, super easy. I'm keeping the same settings, so I don't touch any of this. Only one DCA. I'm okay with still doing the stop loss because I don't want to get wrecked with Sol. And then we'll do 5, 4, what time is it? 8:56 on that. Now we're going to uncheck to enable because we want to just close it out. We don't need to enable the existing. So all I'm waiting for here is my yellow candle to populate. There it is. You can see, look at, if I were to have ran it, look at how well Sol played that through the pump. It actually wouldn't even have gotten stuck. Wow. Look at that. It took a short, DCA, got out, let it pump all the way up, and then it's just been scalping this top range. That's impressive. Wow. Even here, right? Nice DCA. Literally DCA'd at the peak. So we're good. So let's go ahead and create the alert. Once we're done building it, you always just create your alert. ATA Gambit Sol short. Let's get back into Sol. A little bit safer. We missed out, right? So we didn't trust the the code, and the code did really well. But it's better safe than sorry on that, guys, with the news events. So, but I'm comfortable with entering back because if you go to the 1 hour on Sol, we have a lot of room on the top that we can go, right? And we do have room to fall. I do actually notice, look at this though. Interesting. So if it breaks this neckline, we're gonna have a nice double top fall. But if it, in the reverse, if it holds support and it breaks this neckline, we're gonna have a pop. So let's take let's do this. And guys, don't be afraid to do this. I haven't showed you guys to do this, but if this is my neckline and I'm concerned about it, right? All I have to do is right about here. If I do just a resistance line, and then you click this line, you click add alert, right? Notification for Sol, crossing bullish, something like that, right? And hit create. And now it's going to notify me if it breaks that. If it doesn't break that, I don't really care. So I don't really need a lower one. I have to consider activating a long if we flip that, because if we flip that, then the likelihood is we're gonna push pretty far. We could push all the way to 26, right? So I may want to activate those longs to counter it. So always think outside the box when you're creating your alerts and stuff to help you with that kind of stuff. So we made it through 8:59 perfectly there, 9 o'clock. Guys, in the room today, I'm gonna open up the room about 9:15, 9:30, something like that. Give me about 15 minutes, and then we'll probably trade maybe for like an hour or two today, ish, maybe a little bit more. But I do have some various meetings and stuff today I gotta prepare for. Just to kind of show you guys again. We are working on a pretty sick indicator that, it's not complete yet. We're gonna take this volume weighted profile and probably flip it onto this side, but we'll we'll see how that plays out. We're modifying, we're testing. The concept of this one is to kind of follow a flow, and to identify big movements that could potentially gap fill. So it's going to be a pretty sick indicator so far. It's worked out really well for me, just kind of in the back testing. So that's why we're piecing it together, and then we'll release this. We're hoping to release this in the next few days. So for you guys that are in the community, it's going to be pretty sick. So appreciate you guys' time. I'm going to go ahead and drop off here on the community, and then TikTok, you guys can hang out for a minute. I'll see if you guys had any questions. But we'll see you guys in the room shortly.